off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of DFS Bachelor, joined by our League of Legends Supermind, Mr. Mike at League of Items. And we are going to go over tonight's 3-game LPL slate. That's the Chinese League, for those of you wondering what the LPL stands for. Our Draftkings picks here tonight, breaking down each game. First things first, thank you for all your support, all the kind words, comments, subscribing to both channels. There will still be a link for Mike's channel. Yesterday, there was no video on my channel. We did a live stream over on Mike's channel. So it's important, have exposure to both. Keep those bell notifications on for both. We'll have a link down below. It should be easier to find now that Mike is no longer located in Afghanistan. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is now you might actually be able to find me. It's so weird.
That's so weird. So be sure to check all that out. I will announce the winner for the contest tomorrow. I forgot to look who the winner was. I'm kind of in a hurry this morning. I got to take my mom to a doctor thing. So tomorrow I will announce the winner for tomorrow's show. I already wrote it down. So like, comment, subscribe to the channels, leave your comment in the comment section. $25 PayPal giveaway winner. And you need to claim your prize so I don't give the prize to someone else in another giveaway during the week like what happened last week. So how'd your night go, Mike?
I lost.
Damn. But you did have a good line. You had a 689, I believe, right? You had a good lineup?
Overall, it was a loser. But right. I had one lineup that was probably one pivot away from tying for first. But it was a 2 for 2 away. So I guess it's kind of like a pivot. But yeah. Like I said when I was making the video and the live stream with you, the most likely outcome was the 2 big favorites winning, and we knew that if that was the case, supports were probably the way to go. And those are the lineups that took all the tournaments down. It's just I hate those kinds of slates. It's so boring. Yeah.
I was one pivot away too. I was just swapped. I did QQ at support as the captain instead of Sword Art, and that's what kept me from chopping with Osimo and the rest of those guys. There was a bunch of people that tied for first.
Yeah. So one suggestion I would have for people, just by me reviewing my own process and thinking about my bankroll management and stuff, make sure that when you're looking for what contests you want to play, don't go into a day thinking I'm going to play X amount of money. You should be thinking to yourself, what do the lineups that I can make and that I look like? And then how much exposure should I have to this slate with that information? Because you don't want to just put money out there and then hate all of your lineups. Right.
And I say this all the time on the show. Never, ever, ever play more money than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun, especially during this time. We need some sort of distraction as things just seem... Although today it seems like some positive news. Seems like the curve's flattening in New York, maybe.
Yeah. Are you hearing this lawnmower right now?
No, I cannot hear the lawnmower.
Well, just so that you know, there's a lawnmower outside my house right now, and it's pissing me off. I'm out here losing money on Draftkings, and now there's a lawnmower. Are you kidding me? It's bullshit.
It's all right. You'll get it back tonight. I'm
not worried about it. Like you said, it's all about bankroll management. Yeah. And I've been having a really good year so far on Draftkings. So even though I've been off my game a little bit for the past couple of weeks, still up a lot of money. So I can't be upset about it.
Well, I think your information's been on point. Maybe maybe you're just taking more chances, or trying to go for, and that happens. There's nothing wrong with that. When you've had a good year, start taking some chances. Go for, my one losing lineup. I did a V5 stack. They're a terrible team, one of the worst in the world as far as I'm concerned. Every time, they're just terrible. Yeah. But of course, I'm gonna take a shot because if they win, I'll dance all the way to first. I don't mind chopping for first, but I really love the idea of just having it all to myself with a unique lineup. So I'm gonna take some chances. But you need to make sure your bankroll can sustain those types of chances when you do it.
Yeah, and I'm a contrarian player. That's how I built up my bankroll. So, I can't get away from my bread and butter. So let's see. So tonight, I'll try to give you the straightforward, boring ass play. Yeah, and then I'll give you some of those upside plays as well.
Sure. So let's just jump right in. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. We appreciate that. Tell your friends. I know that the other show's doing a great job, but the information here is just the way we break it down. I'm not the only one that thinks all the feedback is the breakdown is fantastic. So tell your friends, get in here, hit like, hit subscribe to Mike's channel. We do giveaways, we do live streams sometimes on Mike's channel later in the day if we get a frog up our ass, So check all of that out. I do have a little. I do have my player pool set on Draft Dashboard for those of you playing the simulation NBA sports, those free rolls. I do set my player pool there. There's a link. You can try that for 30 days for $1 if that's something you wish to desire to do. As well.
There's no way you can't hear this fucking lawnmower.
I hear it now.
Bullshit outside.
I hear it now.
I hear
it now. I hear him now. It's okay. It's not. I don't think it's hurting too much of the show. I can hear you just fine. So
the other thing, the last thing before we get into the slate is, like, right now there aren't a lot of traditional sports out, right? And being able to watch something like esports and understand esports is something that it might sound crazy, but this is going to be something that you're probably at least kind of paying attention to for the rest of your life. Esports are not going anywhere. Right. They're only getting bigger. And as the prize pools grow and stuff like that, even just being able to run out one lineup, like I assume that we will have a millionaire maker next year.
Yeah.
For esports.
Yeah, especially if this keeps up. If for some god awful reason we don't have the NFL season, it's pandemic proof. So I like that. Yeah, it feels pandemic proof. I don't want to say that. Actually, let me knock on wood because
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is the traditional sports betting. Like, obviously, like, if you're playing Draftkings, maybe you understand the regular gambling markets a little bit as well. I genuinely believe that there's a huge edge against the sports books right now because they have they're not paying attention to the champions that are drafted and like the drafts. Right. And if you've watched either of the live streams that I've done, like I can identify those instantaneously. Right. So right when somebody locks in a shitty champion or like counters themselves, I can basically alert you and you can throw $5 on something that might give you good value. Right. So let's get into the slate.
Perfect. Yeah, love it. So first game, Dominus Gaming against Billy Gaming. Billy Gaming is the favorite. That feels weird to say because they're so terrible, but they are the favorite. I always like having a little bit of exposure to the first game, but this game for me right now, and I might be crazy, the only way I'm having exposure is if I take the underdog Dominus.
I think that let's just look matchup by matchup. So do we have lineups? Did they post that already?
Yes, lineups are out.
All right, so just let me check that real quick because I think that I think
everything looks the same. Dominus has Natural, Xiaopeng, Zaye, Gala, and Mark. BLG is ADD, Meteor, Fofo, Jin Jiao, and Zinmo.
Yeah, so these are their basic lineups.
Right.
BLG, they are not very good, and neither is Dominus. But I feel like I've watched Dominus recently, and they looked pretty good. Right. So they beat LGD. I respect LGD. LGD has a bad record, but I respect them.
Yeah.
They 2-0'd Rogue Warriors. Rogue Warriors played pretty competitively with Top Esports last night.
Yes, they did.
And then they 2-0'd LNG. And LNG they have a core of a good team. It's just that they're playing like shit right now.
Right.
So I think Dominus has pretty good upside and can definitely win. Right now they're a plus 130 underdog. The one thing about this slate is that they're not the best underdog in terms of like percent chance to win.
No, I would say that's JDG, isn't it?
Yeah. So if I'm running out, that's a good question. I think the
JDG is a good team. E-Star and JDG are both good teams, right?
But that makes me feel like the chances of it going 2-0 is lower.
Right.
So
I'll take the 2-1 win. Even Top Esports, the 2-1. Both two of the three went 2-1, I guess. I have a hard though. For me, the only game I confidently feel it going 2-0 is
FPX.
Yeah, FPX over LNG. But I mean, again, I'm not. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that let me just check the lineup.
Dominus is the blue side on this as well, which kind of I guess helps a little bit.
Okay, so for a team like Dominus, I would say that it's actually not better for them to be blue side because the way that they've been winning their games is by getting their mid laner into good matchups. So if you're the blue side, you get access to the best champion. You have the first chance at getting a really good champion.
Right.
And if you're red side, you have the last pick in the draft, so you can like kind of save a pick to make something that counters the enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of games, like it happened last night, if you have last pick and you're red side, you can do something like pick this champion Kassadin, and if you have Kassadin on your team, your mid laner has the chance of getting like 10 kills. So the guy last night had 13 kills in the first game, Angel from Sunning.
Right.
So Shie has played Kassadin before, and he has had performances like that. So he has very good upside. I think that he's probably the better mid laner. I think he's better than Fofo.
And 900 cheaper.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dominus won this matchup straight up.
Yeah, I like Dominus. I think that's where I'm gonna. Like I said, this game, I don't think I'll play any Billy Gaming. I'll just and if whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. They're so bad. I can't.
Yeah. The goal I would guess is like take one or two players from Dominus and then try to stack up more players from the other two games.
Right.
And that's another thing I was thinking about. I was talking to somebody yesterday. They were asking me questions about what kind of lineup they should put together, and I actually told them to make a double support lineup with QQ. Yeah. So
that was the winner. Double support,
Sword
Art, and QQ.
Yeah, so two people reached out to me yesterday, and I gave them both double support lineups, and they both won money.
Yeah.
So, I think that. Well, the one thing I was going to say is when I was talking to them, I started thinking to myself, like on these three team slates, should you be getting exposure to all three teams instead of two teams, because you increase the chances of one or two of your players from. You increase the chances of one of your players losing, but you decrease the chances of three players losing or four players losing. So you're limiting your downside, increasing your percent chance to cash. So if you're in a tournament like the Titans Fury, that's not probably the best for cash equity, but it gives you a higher upside. But if you're in a 3-person slate in a cash game, on a 3-game slate with two big favorites, then you're better off probably running like a 3-3-1.
Right.
Or a 3-2-2.
Right. I think is what won. I think it was a 3-3 with Sunning, Top Esports, and then the team DMG. That was the tie for first in Titans Fury last night with a bunch of people. Yeah, last night was a little weird too because the favorites were so. I mean, besides Victus losing, which we talked about, they were the most likely underdog to win.
Yeah.
Was the most likely favorite to lose, but the favorites were such clear, overwhelming favorites. I think these first two games, especially, you can certainly make the case for the underdog on both games. So it kind of gives you. I think there's a little bit more variance. I think if one of these underdogs wins, then you're going to see your more traditional 80 carry in the captain spot going a 4-3 with the underdog and then FPX. Which is what I'm doing tonight.
Sure.
Is there anything else in this game that we need to go over?
So I would say if we're going Dominus, so one thing we should probably do in our videos when we're looking at stuff like this is like if we're gonna stack the underdog, who should we stack them with?
Right.
So Dominus, and when I say that, I mean like. Obviously, your first choice is going to be a mid laner or an AD carry, and then you probably want to take, like you want to take them either the top team or support. So, if you think they have a chance to 2-0, then you should pick the team and the support.
Right.
If you think it's going to be a 2-1 or a 1-2,
right.
I think it makes more sense to get exposure to the top
right
than the team, because the team upside, like you're going to see one of these other matches go 2-0 tomorrow, probably the FPX series specifically, and that's going to give somebody access to a 58-point team. Right. And if they have a 58-point team and you go 2-1 and you have like 40 something, then that's like a 15-point disadvantage. Whereas if you have two supports and one of them goes 2-1, the other one goes 2-0, I think it's going to be closer.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So yeah, so if we're saying DMO is going to win 2-1, I think 2-1 seems pretty reasonable. I don't know if they can blow out. Neither one of these teams are, world beaters, right?
Yeah.
So if we're just assuming a 2-1, which I think the odds would if we're taking the underdog to beat Billy Gaming, the odds would usually dictate the underdog is going to win a closer game. They're not going to blow the favorite out.
Yeah.
Right. So we'd start with Gala, the 80 carrier, or do you like their mid Zyway better? They are on the blue side, so they won't get that kind of red side draft you were talking about.
Yeah. So I saw yesterday that in China, the second team, like you had a choice of what side you want. Like it's the first game is the way that we see it,
right?
And then the second and third games are kind of up to the team's discretion,
right?
So I think that blue side you're more likely to pick around your 80 carry,
right?
And I think Gala's fine to pick for that.
Yeah,
I would want exposure to Xie as well, the mid laner. So it depends on how salaries line up with the favorite, but maybe you can convince me to get both of those players in there.
Oh, and then you can easily do it. You can easily do it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying from an opportunity cost, because
right.
that way you're kind of taking out a high upside from someone who you're projecting to win by a lot of points.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. And obviously if you're going Billy Gaming the favorite, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, then you're going to want, just like we just talked about, the same thing applies there. Just a little bit tougher with the salary because they are a bit more expensive.
Yeah, like you said, nothing wrong with it. Just if you do it, you're a complete moron and an idiot and deserve to lose all your money. But I mean, other than that, no one's going to hold it against you or anything. So do what you want to do.
I mean, I've picked games wrong before. Even the most intuitive criminal investigator has been known to be wrong from time to time.
Well, I've actually never been wrong, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
that's really, really good. I was wrong once. I married an unclean woman. No.
I knew exactly where you were going with that.
I'm just kidding. I think sometimes she watches this, so sorry.
You were about halfway through the first word, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's gonna bash his ex-wife. I mean, it's fun to do. It is. It's fun to do. We've been divorced for years. It's fine. I tell her when I speak with her, I'm like, I totally bash you on the shows because you're a horrible, horrible creature. So,
at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. All right, our second game, E-Star, blue side, JDG, for the first game anyways, versus JDG. I've only made one lineup so far for tonight, just messing around. And mine was a 4-3 JDG FPX stack with, and because I think JDG, these are two good teams.
Yes.
And E-Star hasn't looked great their last couple of matches either.
Sure. And I think, let me get a graph from Sports Projections. He posted it the other day when E-Star was playing, and I think it said that E-Star, when they lose big.
Right.
So I would definitely want, at least, like if I'm running multiple lineups tonight, there's a 100% chance that I have at least one JDG lineup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So E-Star scores a lot of points when they win, and they're a little bit above average when they lose.
Right.
In terms of letting up points, because like I said, there are, everybody has access to the same champions, but teams have play styles that make them more kill heavy or less kill heavy, and it changes their win condition. Like some team compositions, you will need to get kills and win big fights in order to build your lead. Other teams can do it through getting neutral objectives, pushing towers, and playing the macro game better.
Sure.
So for E-Star, it would appear that they are reliant on getting those kills. So that means when they're behind, the only way that they can get back into a game is by getting more kills.
Sure.
So that's going to increase their need to have big interactions and fight around big objectives. And that can do two things. If the winning team is similar, where they want to fight around big objectives, then you could have a huge kill score game. But the one potential problem is if a team who is reliant on kills gets behind, and the team that's winning can play it slow and like just play around the map and control the objectives, like you can get an extremely low kill score game.
Right.
So I wouldn't just stack teams against eStar hoping that the other team wins. Like you need a team with a good kind of style. Right. And JDG has the right kind of style to play against eStar, both ahead and behind. So this is a great game for fantasy scoring. I think it's the best one on the night.
Okay.
Like this is more of a shootout.
Right.
So I know that we've made some comparisons to other sports in the past. This isn't like a Washington Wizards situation. This is more like a Houston Rockets situation.
Right.
Like
actually, the Rockets play at kind of a slow pace because of James Harden. There's no player I hate. Yeah, they score a lot because they just jack a lot of threes, and James Harden just dribbles around. I fucking hate watching James Harden play basketball.
A lot of people hate James
Harden.
Harden.
Stand watching him play basketball.
I hate him.
So this will be like
much better than I can, so I kind of dislike him for that as well.
Yeah, that's a disgusting beard. It's so full of germs. I mean, he goes to every strip club in the country, no matter. But
it is very thick.
Yes, it is very thick. That's what she
honestly said. That probably helps him protect him against coronavirus.
It could, or it just like attracts it. Just growing and just.
Sure, yeah, it's one of the extremes. It's either very good or very bad.
He bugs me. James Harden bugs me.
So what I was going to say, the reason I was making that comparison is because a team like the Washington Wizards, when they win by scoring a lot of points. Right. When they lose, they get destroyed because they can't play defense.
Right.
So the Rockets, on the other hand, they will win big more often, and if a team wants to beat them, they can't slow them down. It's like, okay, well, now we have to play as fast and score as many points as the Houston Rockets.
Right. Unless it's a big playoff game, James Harden can go 3 for 46 from 3 because he's a mental midget. And sorry, Rockets fans. I know you're going to be pissed out there. I really don't give a shit. Like, move on.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do like this game. And of course, I'm going to have exposure to eStar as well. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'll probably be over on JDG and under on eStar for me.
Yeah. So then if we're looking at, if we think that this is going to be the highest scoring game, then this is probably the one that we want to get 4 players from, regardless of who the second team is that we're stacking.
Right.
So I think most lineups,
you can make a nice 4-3 stack going team, mid, AD carry, and jungler from JDG, and then top, the other AD carrier and support from FPX, and you have 400 salary left over. That's my first lineup that I made.
Sure. So in terms of the matchups, like if there's an advantage to playing the mid laners or the AD carries, I think that if I'm playing, I think I do want exposure to Cryan.
Yeah, he just puts up huge numbers.
Like if I was ranking it, I would probably want the two starting AD carries more than the 2 starting mid laners, and then I'd prefer Cryan over Yagao. Like even if JDG wins, I could see it being Yagao having like an okay game, but he doesn't have the same upside that those other 3 players have, or at least he hasn't shown it. And like I said, so after looking at the box score and saying that, while I was saying it, I was kind of trying to pull back the words from my mouth, because we shouldn't always look to the box score and just assume that he doesn't have the same upside, because he's a professional player. It's probably coming down to like champion decisions that they've made as a team. So I could see if he plays a new kind of champion that he can have higher upside. So, and they are red side. Yeah. So if you play something like Kassadin, then maybe you have access to something that you wouldn't otherwise. Right. And the other thing is, if you want to have Douenby as your captain, the mid laner from FPX, I bet that Yagao allows you to build a lineup with them. And you probably can't do that with Cryan.
Right. No, Cryan's too expensive. He's too expensive. But he does have like you talked about, the massive upside, like 142 points just a week ago. That's a huge game against LNG. And that was a 2-1 game, by the way, kind of going to your point. The game after was a 2-0 game against Dominus, only 108. I mean, 108's great. So you do see these big scores when it's a 2-1 game for them because, like you said, they need a ton of kills to come back.
Yeah, that's their normal win condition.
Yeah. So, like both teams, I'll have more JDG.
Yeah. Before we move on, though, because I do think that most of the value, like the real skill test in League of Legends DFS recently, from the lineups that I've seen winning is being able to identify the top jungle support and team. Like most of these lineups will have multiple combinations of mids and AD carries as their captains, and then just like flip stuff around. Mm-hmm. But the real big difference you see between like groups of lineups is like, did I pick the right top laner? Did I pick the right jungle? Did I pick the right support? Right. And the reason that happens is because of the games not played bonuses, because these positions are so dependent on getting assists from like the late game team fights and the games not played bonuses, that if they have like one shitty game, then you're screwed.
Right.
So that makes me want to stay away from top laners normally, because top laners are the most likely teammate to get screwed out of a game where they just eat shit the entire game.
Right.
And never get back into it.
Right.
So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. But in this situation, Zoom came back and Zoom looked really good.
Right.
So I think if I have a JDG stack, I want Zoom.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, let me make sure he is in.
Yeah, he's in.
He's in. Okay.
The lineup is Zoom, Kanavi, Yagao, Loken, and LV Mao.
Gotcha. Perfect. Yep, right there with I believe he's in that lineup that I made.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I did Loken in the captain spot for that.
Yeah. Zoom has pretty good upside, I think. Like, I just based off of what I saw that first game, he was like they tried to dive him, which means like you take multiple players from one team and you just attack one guy on the map. Like you commit a lot of resources to doing something like that. So 3 people dove him, and I think he killed 2 of them because they kind of messed it up. But that's good. Like, at least he doesn't crumble under the pressure. So let's go to the third game.
Yeah. And just to mention Zoom being back, so he was gone since January. So the 3 games he's played in 2020 with JDG, they've won all 3 2-0.
Yeah.
So I don't expect that tonight. I think a 2-1 is more likely. But
definitely possible though.
Yeah, definitely possible. Especially eStar has not looked great the last couple of matches either. They have not looked good. Or look great. They've lost. I know that.
Yeah, so the fact that they lost to Vici Gaming is worse than losing to RNG. Like, RNG played really well against Invictus Gaming the other day.
Right.
RNG is a really good team. They're like a top 4 team.
Right.
eStar and JDG are right there as well. Like, they're both very good teams. I think eStar might actually be in first right now.
I think they're like 19 and 10. I think JDG's 16 and 10, FPX 18 and 7.
Okay, yeah, so that's game score. I'm just talking about match score. So match score, Invictus Gaming is in first place. They're 10 and 1. eStar is second at 9 and 3. But eStar is not the second best team in the league.
Gotcha.
So I think FPX is definitely better than them. RNG is right there. So they're more in like the second tier. They're in like the clump of second teams. Gotcha. And I think JDG is in that clump as well.
Gotcha.
So eStar has performed better like in this season. But I think that JDG is talent-wise just as good as them, if not better.
Perfect. Makes sense. Yeah, let's go to our third game so I can take my dear sweet mommy to the doctor. She's not that old. She had
whatever. Yeah, hopefully she doesn't watch this because
she does.
She'll be upset.
She watches.
All right.
She watches, and if I swear too much or if it doesn't get as many views as she thinks, then I can get credit. It's just the whole thing. The whole family loves to either criticize me or praise me or borrow money. I mean, that's what
that's good. I hope they're all watching. Hello, DFS Bachelors.
Hello. Now they know I love them. All right. So last game, LNG, FPX. FPX, obviously the heavy favorite. I think the biggest favorite on the slate, right?
Yeah. FPX is good.
And I want as much exposure to them as possible. However, I can make it work, trying to find value from the other underdogs, etc.
Yeah, FPX is minus 1,111. That's a very big line.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so
I'm putting $100 on LNG tonight then. Fuck it. No.
Yeah, make a quick $10. Or a quick $100. Sorry. Yeah. Wait, you said put 100 on it?
On LNG, yeah. Yeah, I'd make over 1,000.
Oh, I thought you were just saying like make the free money. Yeah, no, I would not suggest that.
No, I'm not.
If you wanna make some free money, sure. Yeah. I would probably consider 1,111 to win 100.
Yeah, why not?
10%. That's not that bad.
No, it's not.
So let's see. FPX and LNG. So one thing with DraftKings scoring is the biggest favorite on the slate, regardless of how big of a favorite they are, their lineup, their salaries are pretty similar.
Right.
So I think with FPX, it might actually be a value situation.
They're a little cheaper than eStar.
Yeah, like they should. They in every spot, really?
Well, let's see. At 80 carry, they are. At mid, they are. At jungler, they are. At top, Khan's most expensive top. So at support, they're more expensive. Crisp is lightly 200 more. That's it.
Yeah.
And at team, they're 400 more. So at some of those high, 80 carry mid jungler, they're a little cheaper than eStar.
Yeah. I would love to see, I would love to know how DraftKings does their projections, because it makes sense to me that it would be this way based off of what I was saying earlier about the correlation with the team success. So the Vegas line might impact top laners, supports, and the team more than jungle, mid, and 80 carry.
Makes sense.
Because that would explain the difference between these two sets of salaries.
Right.
So FPX, you're going to play everybody. They're most likely a 2-0. So I would try to get 3 to 4 players from FPX in almost all of my lineups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously you want to have a little exposure to a lower percent outcome, but they're easily the chalky side.
Yeah.
You're going to see a huge amount of ownership on them.
Yeah.
And in order for them to fail, you would need... I mean, I could see them not... They're not going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose.
Okay, let's knock on the wood. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to lose.
Now I'm nervous.
But they have shown some matchups where they win 2-0 and only score like 70 points or 71 points.
Right.
So that kind of scares me a little.
Sure.
So I wouldn't go 100. That's just another reason to not go 100% on FPX.
Right.
So even though they are the huge favorite, I think there are a lot of the time eStar or JDG will be a higher scoring team on the slate, because that matchup is going to be so much more difficult and requires so many more kills to wrestle objectives away from the enemy.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. Anything else on this slate you want to go over?
LNG what would they have to do?
Yeah. Talk me into playing the biggest underdog, because I love doing that. But I mean, even when you just look at the opponent rank, when you go through, FPX is first or second at every position. This is Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson right here.
Yeah, the only reason why I would consider playing LNG is if Khan wasn't starting. Khan is a top laner who came from SKT, from T1 in Korea. They changed their name. I always call them SKT because they've been SKT for 10 years.
Right. He just came back, right?
Yeah. So I don't know why he wasn't with the team. I don't know if it was a coronavirus situation or if they just didn't want to change out players just to do it.
Right.
But they're paying him either $2.6 million or $6 million this year. So they're not going to let him collect dust on the bench the entire season.
Right.
But I would say he is probably more volatile than Gimgoon. Gimgoon's more of a team player. And the reason they got Khan is because he has the upside of being a carry player.
Right.
I think. Khan is more like the Shy, if anybody out there knows what that means.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's basically it. I would try to get as much exposure to eStar, JDG, and FPX as possible. Right. And then I think the higher scoring outcome from the first game is going to be if DMO wins. So I would want some exposure to DMO. And if Billy Gaming wins, in order for them to break into your lineup, they're probably going to need to go 2-0.
Right. I 100% agree.
Oh, so I guess for that, let me just give a good percentage for that. So Billy Gaming is -172. -172 is what, 60? Yes. I got it right here.
67%, 64%.
Yeah, 64-ish.
64-ish, yeah.
Yeah. So that means 64% of the time they win. Is that right? I think that makes me like DMO more, by the way. But so Billy Gaming, if they are one of the 3 favorites, you would think that they're going to be the highest scoring team 33% of the time. Since they only have a 64% chance to win, you do 0.33 times 0.64. And thank you. I have a calculator.
0.33 times 0.64. I used to be really good at this stuff in my head.
I always just make sure I'm right with the calculator.
Yeah.
So that's 0.2. So I would not have more than 20% exposure to Billy Gaming. That's why I was going to that.
Right.
So if I was looking at my own lineups, I would only want 20% ownership of Billy Gaming.
Makes complete sense. Perfect. I almost said 18.5%, by the way, right there. So I was pretty close in my head.
Yeah.
Just for the record. Just for the record. Yeah. Anyways, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to Mike's channel. I'll have a link in the video description below for that too. You never know. We just pop in. He's live streaming all the time. I don't know how you do it. He's watching all the games, live streaming all the time. I'll pop in from time to time if I didn't ruin it yesterday.
No, it was good yesterday.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So I do these live streams like when these in the beginning when the Chinese slates are going on, depending on how much action I have. And I just kind of give a little bit more information about the games that are going on. I look for live betting opportunities and give lineup advice. So feel free to check it out.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Great job again. Thank you all so much. Be safe. Be well. Try to stay home. I hope everyone's doing well. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a 6-game LPL LCK tomorrow night, right? That's a 6-game.
Is that the big tournament?
I think so. It's tomorrow night. I think it's the 6-game LCK LPL, so we'll have a lot to talk about.
5 games.
Or 5 games. Yeah, 5 games. Interesting, 5. It's usually always 3 or 6, it feels like. I don't know. So 5 games. We'll be there for that tomorrow morning. Thank you all again so much for watching. Goodbye, folks.
See you.